So this is the last step, getting ready to cook your boule. And you're going to need some parchment paper. I use cornmeal and a sharp knife. Some people have a special tool to use. I just use a sharp little paring knife. And then we're going to take our bread. See, it's been sitting, proofing again for about a half hour. You can see it's nice and puffy. And we don't want to overproof it because eventually it'll sink again, and you don't want that to happen. So now I'm going to take a piece of the parchment paper that's big enough to fit the whole center of the bowl, so that I can flip it onto it, and then I can just take the edges of the parchment paper and put it into my my Dutch oven. Turn this off. Okay, that's about right. Now I don't want my bread to stick to my parchment paper, so I use cornmeal. Some people use oatmeal. I've done that before too. I find cornmeal works about the best. And I just spread it here. So there's a nice little coat before I put my boule on it. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to gently flip it onto the paper. And then I'm just going to kind of shape it up a little bit, pull it in into a nice round. And then I'm going to take the Dutch oven out of the stove where it's been preheating and put it right here. Okay, so I have my Dutch oven out onto this hot plate because it's very, very hot. You don't want to touch it. And now I'm going to score my boule. So I'm going to start on the corner here. You can see right here. And I'm going to go in and just make like a nice round, almost like a smiley face, going to the other edge. And I'm going to take these two corners and I'm just going to drop it into my hot Dutch oven. And I like to trim off a little bit. You don't want to trim off too much because you still want to do it. And my assistant is going to put the cover back on and use these to put it back in the oven. And you'll notice in my oven I also have a little bread pan of water. That's to keep it moist. So it's still at 425. We're going to put the timer on for 40 minutes. Okay, so the 40 minutes is up and the alarm just went off, so we are going to take off. No, we're just going to take off the cover. Okay, very carefully because it's very hot in there. And there you go. You can see the bread is puffed up and it has a little ear. I'm going to leave it now uncovered for 10 more minutes. And then we will be done. Okay, so the 10-minute timer went off. So now we're ready to check the bread. Typically this is always ready. Oh, you want this to? Oh, yeah, check the temperature. So typically it's always ready. We want it to be at least 208, 211, so it's perfect. Now we're going to carefully remove the boule and put it onto the hot plate. It is very, very hot, so you have to be very careful. And then we've got our parchment paper very carefully in because it's very hot. And lift it up and put it, slide it on top of our rack. And we usually put the hot pads on top of the pan, the Dutch oven, just to remind people not to touch it because it's extremely hot. Okay, so now I've got this on the cooling rack, and I'm just going to quickly slide it off the paper. I'll just put this under to catch more of the crumbs and stuff. And it is ready to cool.